Hello and welcome. We're going to get started here in, over 6 minutes. We'll probably get started at 11:35. Give some other people some time to be able to roll on in as they do. Sometimes right when you get started, that's when, everyone opens the door and comes on in. So thanks for joining. Glad to have you.
Oh, hello.
Well, hello, hello. All right, you guys, just bringing up a couple links on my side. Looks like we got two fellows in here, so we can have a nice, long, personal discussion today. Get into the deep bed bugs about what's going on, how we're presenting our portfolios, what portfolios are strong, how we can improve them across a wide variety of media. Looking forward to seeing what kind of works y'all have been up to and what you've been doing. Santino, I already know you got some good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to give it 3 more minutes before we begin, 11:35, just to be able to give up. There you go. And when do you know you
Sure.
let some other heads join up if they are available. Sometimes that 11:30 start date is when people start to open up their browser, and it can take a minute or two. So we'll take 2 more minutes before we actually begin and get this thing rolling.
Join.
Hi, Kua.
Join. Is it finished?
All righty. Good afternoon, folks. I don't know why my camera isn't working today. I tried my best with it, but we have got a portfolio review, a check-in that we're going to be doing today to see how you guys are displaying your projects that you've put so much time and effort into. And I'm here to, bug you about that extra 99% after you've done all the work. Your project looks phenomenal. It's working. The UVs are great. The textures are there. You've got the render. You've put it into Substance. The normal maps are all functioning as they should be. And then I get to go in today and be like, well, have you thought about showing it off this way? Why don't you do some more renders? That type of thing. I'm sure your work is going to look absolutely outstanding. My name is William Moritz, and I have been working in the design field for, 20 years now. I always say, don't do the math. And within that time, I have had a very varied career within the design world. I have not had a linear path where I got a job at Blizzard when I was, just out of school, and I've been working with them for the past 16 years. No, sir. I have had many, many jobs, many hats, and many different roles. A lot of 3D work, a lot of motion graphics work, a lot of animation work. I've been a concept artist. I've been a creative director for a gaming company. I've been a creative director for a financial tech company. I've done mobile apps. I've done UI UX design. I've done web design. Currently, I work for the CDC for another 11 days, a little over 11 days, on a virtual reality team where we've been building out virtual reality lab trainings for scientists to learn the CDC best practices for how to be able to handle equipment from anywhere in the world. If any of you guys in this meeting today got yourselves an Oculus or an Oculus 2 Meta or Quest headset, you can throw that bad boy in and type in lab training VR, and you will be able to find what I have spent the last 2 years. I've been with this role for 4 years, but for the last 2 years, I've been working on this one for the Oculus headset. And before that, we did another one for an even stronger headset. And that one is absolutely nuts. It's called the PPE Museum. But yeah, it's been a wild, wild ride. On the 18th, I'm going to be jumping ship from my team with the CDC and the virtual reality and moving over to another team within the CDC. The CDC stands for Centers for Disease Control. If you guys aren't familiar with that, it's become such a ubiquitous word in the United States after COVID. It's sort of like the World Health Organization for the United States. If any of you guys have ever watched the TV show The Walking Dead, that's where they go to during the first season, and its home base is located in Atlanta, Georgia, which is also my home base. But I'll be jumping ship from my virtual reality team and moving over into a team where I'll be heading up the art direction, the creative direction for how the U.S. government instructs people on taking vaccines. It's a very interesting role. And I'll have a lot of creative freedom to determine the messaging and try to humanize that as much as I can. Pretty wild. I could have never anticipated when I left art school the journey that I would get on creatively and in all the different places it would take me. So that said, before we get into the portfolio pieces and looking at those today, just keep in mind, man, I went to school originally to do 3D animation, and I found that I was having a very difficult time getting 3D animation work. And when I started to expand my portfolio into product, doing renders of saw blades, Gillette razors, Nike shoes, that type of stuff, Delta airplanes, I was not having as much trouble looking for work. The gaming industry is absolutely vast. There are millions and billions of dollars that go into gaming every single year. But there is also a lot of work out there for mobile games or for other things that you might not think of. So the skill set that you guys are working so hard to be able to develop now, it's always a balance between how bad do you want it, where you live, and what you're willing to do. So I found that in Atlanta, Georgia, there was only a small handful of 3D animation studios. A lot of those were doing commercial work, and I would work with some of them, but the work was not consistent. So to be able to stay working in motion graphics, commercial work, 3D animation, I had to expand my search. I was listening to this great podcast the other day about a comic book artist who's buddies with the dude who created Hellboy. And in this podcast, he was talking about how he graduated. He went to the same college that I did. And when he finished school, he wanted to be a sequential artist, that he felt the need to move to LA because he thought there would be art or design or production work there, and that maybe he could get a job as like a storyboard artist or something like that. And, for these niche industries that you guys are getting into, remote work is becoming more popular, but there may come a time when, you need to cast your nets a little bit wider than the city that you're currently in, and think about relocating to be able to be in a hub for your particular industry, or you can stay put, you can stay where you're at. If you don't have the financial means to be able to move to up and change your life and move to a new city, we all have different situations. That happened to me for a number of years as well. I've done both. And if that's the case, then you need to be able to remain open to the types of jobs and work that you're willing to take on. So the skill sets that you have with ultra realistic 3D characters can also be applied to motion graphics for product introductory videos. You know, if Samsung is coming out with a new refrigerator, modeling the new refrigerator with a touch screen that tells you when the eggs are going to go bad is a really easy job for you guys that pays a lot of money. It's not a difficult skill set, but there are a lot of different companies out there in the world that need 3D models for their products. And that's something that you all are readily able to do. So just something to keep in mind before we check out these portfolios. I hope I'm not scaring you away, just trying to give you a realistic idea of what the options to be able to get hired within this industry can look like. Either stay put, be open to more different types of work, or consider relocating if you're not finding the video game job, the animation jobs, the film and TV jobs that you're looking for. You might need to go to another city that does have that and has more studios in abundance, and that can be pretty helpful. So from the top here, the person I don't really know that well yet is, I want to make sure that I'm saying your name right. Kwa? How do you say your name? With the squirrel or chipmunk? That's a squirrel. Ah. Hey, you got to turn your mic on. I'm asking you what your name is. There you are. You got your mic on. And now it's off again. Don't you just love having these digital meetings and you can't quite figure out how to do your microphone after? Now it's on. We could hear you if you spoke.
Yep.
Hey.
Hello.
Are you driving in a car right now?
No, I'm partially still working.
Oh, cool. Where are you working at?
Working at a warehouse for currently just making candles.
Candles?
Yeah.
Does it smell good in there?
Too damn good.
Oh, all right. I wasn't sure if that's like working at a Bath and Body Works, and after a while, the smell starts to give you a headache.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I used to work at Abercrombie and Finch back in the day, and I cannot stand the smell of their cologne to this day.
I know what you mean. It's more or less the same.
Whew. Well, I've been there before, man. So when I'd come back from working in an animation studio over in China for 2 years and got back to the United States. Had no idea what I was going to do with myself. I had a job offer to work for Pharrell Williams at an animation motion graphics commercial house that he owns down in Miami called Friends with You. Pharrell Williams is the dude who does the "'Cause I'm happy, clap your hands if you're happy." You know, that type of thing. Sounds like a little kid's song. NERD, really famous musician. And so they were not going to pay me what I needed to be able to survive and to be a young single man down in the city of Miami, Florida. And my life was going to be really miserable working for those guys. And I needed cash. So I'd already worked at the animation studio for 2 years. And I was like, nope, I'm coming back. This needs to be a little bit better than that. And I ended up taking a job at a car manufacturing plant. So if any of you guys have ever seen the movie 8 Mile with Eminem in it, that was me. I was working, they were pressing steel and cutting steel, and we were stacking giant sheets of steel for car manufacturing. And it was one of the jobs in my life where I've been the farthest ever from creative work. And what I did during that job was the machines would break down quite often, these big 5-ton die presses that were cutting these giant spools of sheet metal. And whenever the machines would break down or I had some free time, my workmates would talk about sports and football and, drinking beer and being a good old boy and being a tough guy. And, that's fun for like a week. But after that, I was kind of over it. So I started bringing in a small little sketch booklet that could fit in my back pocket. And whenever the machines would break down, I would walk around the facility and I would sketch the warehouse and draw the pieces of machinery that I saw. And that really kind of gave me a cognitive visual map of what warehouses look like. I find very often with some of the concept art and environment classes that I teach that if you ask someone, okay, this next project is going to be like at the end of an 80s movie and we're going to have a big warehouse. Most people know what a warehouse looks like, but when it comes to actually filling the walls, figuring out what the textures look like within those wall spaces, to design just a giant piece of machinery for a piece of background art for either 3D or 2D, they don't have a cognitive image of what that stuff looks like inside of their heads. So I was building a visual library for myself for giant pieces of machinery and warehouse spaces, because so many stories end in a warehouse. Think about Iron Man 3 ends in like a giant warehouse oil rig type thing. Terminator 2, the list goes on. Highlander, it happens all the time. So while you're there, I would recommend, while you're making candles, if you have any downtime, keep a sketchbook in your back pocket, keep drawing, and just the simple act of that will continue to, I don't want to get too metaphysical, but it'll continue to keep the universe sending creative work your way. While I was at that studio, magically, I got 2 job offers within the same week. One was to do an animated segment for a film that's called Jobriath AD that ended up getting narrated by Henry Rollins, and he's the lead singer of an old punk band called Black Flag. And it was a musical documentary about a musician during the 1970s, mid 80s. And then the other job that I got offered was for a Canadian software company called Oasis, and it was like a back end file management system. So these are 2 radically different things, and they needed an animated branding character to introduce a new line of products that they're coming out with. And for each one of these contracts, I wrote the bid correctly, and I also jumped on it and did all the pre-work for them like immediately before they even said yes. And those 2 jobs gave me the biggest nest egg of cash that I'd ever had in my entire life, and allowed me to be able to leave the manufacturing job, move to Brooklyn, New York for a year. And I was in Brooklyn kind of floating around until I got a job offer from Disney and and another company called motion graphics house called Freestyle Collective, that caused me to drive across the United States within 3 days and end up in San Francisco. But yeah, so if you're not feeling like you're on the creative track, or you feel like it's really far away, man, just keep drawing and you will be surprised. Keep posting stuff, keep doing updates, keep doing small works that you can produce, and that will it'll come. It'll work out, man. A lot of people don't have a direction to aim in their lives, and everyone in this chat does here today, and you will get there. But Mr. Candle Manufacturer, could you say your name one more time?
It's Kua, like Coola.
Kua. That's it, right?
There you go. Perfect.
Cool, man. Dude, you sound like a really cool fella. So, Kua, I hope that was an inspiring little story for you. Since you're likely on your cell phone right now in the candle manufacturing plant, would you mind dropping in the chat your website or portfolio that you want us to have a look at today?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, now I'll share it out on my screen and give you some pointers and some tips, and hopefully tell you some other good stories about where any of these tips are coming from and why they're helpful for you. While you're bringing that up, Kua, one of the big things I always stress to people, thank you so much for adding this. One of the big things I always stress to people is to please tell the story of what the project is and what your steps are. This is perhaps unique to me. All right, so it's in the chat if you guys want to bring it up on your own screen. Oh, I knew it was going to be some good looking stuff. Damn, you are way too talented to be in a candle making factory right now. All right, I'd come rescue you and hire you if I could. All right, I'm going to share my screen. All right, cool. Kua Vang. It's an awesome as well. My goodness. Well, I absolutely love the stylized characters that you've got going on within your portfolio. I'm just going to go through these real quick because they all look equally strong. That's a great stylized version of Jinx. Love the yellow background on here. I think that's really, really beautiful. Looks great. The facial expression on the character is phenomenal as well. Secure. Oh boy, that's fun. It's Rock Lee meets Sakura. Yeah, great concept art and reference image for that right there. Was she Ryu's apprentice? Is that her backstory?
Yep. She in a way she followed him everywhere he went, and pretty much became an apprentice.
Yeah, she's like a fangirl.
Yep, fangirl, that's the word.
Cool. Got some Squid Games going on. Man, the concept artist references that you're picking in here are really, really great. Oh, look at that. What a funky Ryu. I love it. Those eyebrows are tremendous. I really like the work that you did in the stylized Hadouken as well. Donkey Kong. Oh boy, that's really, really great. Cool, man. All right. So Kua, what do you want to do, man? What is your perfect dream job? Let's talk about it into existence.
Ooh, perfect dream job. There's a couple, but the one that I'm currently thinking right now is either in game ready character or toy making. That's why a lot of the or toy sculpture figurines.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was seeing within your portfolio. Is that a lot of these? I was going to say, time to start 3D printing these fellas.
And you know what's funny? I actually have a resin 3D printer.
No kidding.
That was the whole purpose of when I got back into doing 3D. I got a 3D printer, and I was like, I need to start printing stuff. So that was my motivation of getting back into like sculpting.
Yeah. So, have you 3D printed any of these?
None of those, but other stuff. Yes.
Okay. Are any of any sculpts that you've done, or is it just stuff that you're downloading right now and still kind of figuring it out?
I have print some. What you call it? Like CAD stuff, or like parts for my like electric skateboard and all these other stuff that I do, for like little parts for my drones. So all these little practical parts for those I have created, and printed, but none of the figurine stuff.
Buddy, you got the electric skateboard, the drone, the 3D printer. You got a whole. You're like Marty McFly. That's awesome.
Too much hobby. That's what it is.
Yeah, man. Okay, so we know what the direction is. I think that the toy making makes one heck of a lot of sense for you. And the story for that is like each one of these pieces have got such great reach on social media. So as you start to post images of these guys, repost them, give them different backgrounds, and start coming up with a post schedule for any kind of shop that you want to open up. So you can you can open up a store, right, with a shopping cart. It doesn't cost anything to be able to attach it. You pay when the transactions come through, and then start promoting on social media for this thing, because this is exactly the type of pop culture reference that people love to click on and share out. You've got Pokemon, you've got Street Fighter, you've got Nintendo IPs and properties. I would continue to stay within the popular IPs, especially like Squid Games and stuff like that. That has got so much reach. There's little kids that are dressing up as Squid Game for Halloween now. They should not be doing that. I don't know why their parents even let them watch that. But it's entered into the popular lexicon. So with each one of these, the catch is we've got some really great renders that are going on. They look absolutely beautiful. That'll look great on a desktop. Is to just start doing some close up, revolving shots of it. So here's and show show a time lapse. Set your camera up to where it's plugged in, and as the print is taking place, just take a super freaking long video on your camera phone, and then drop that into some kind of editing software, speed it up by 10 times, and now you've got another post. And people love to watch this stuff come together in the process of it getting sanded, as well as watching it get painted, and the before and after videos. Like, people will watch that stuff for hours, and it'll really help you get a ton of traction. There's no reason why printing out something like Ryu here and seeing it come together would not get 1 million posts on Instagram. So I think that you've got a ton of reach. The other catch when it comes to setting up and selling these figurines, you've got a couple different markets, right? So you can sell them within any kind of convention spaces. So conventions for video games, popular pop culture, different food. But then you've already got the print made. I would bring just a couple sculptures and take back orders from people and tell folks that you already sold out by the time they hit your table. And say, hey, we're all out of those extra Ryus, but we can certainly print you one and get it mailed to you. Here's the price for it. And start collecting emails and building your social contacts that way. The other option is to go into comic book stores. Those guys are kind of like the hazy gray area, the black market, where they will start to they'll be more than happy to put this in a glass case for you and put a price tag on it for you to be able to sell it as a one-off kind of gallery piece with all the other popular sculptures that are within the space. So I was just in a store in Portugal, a couple weeks ago, about 6 weeks ago, and downstairs there's a technology and music store. They also sold cell phones. In the downstairs area, they had a whole pop culture section, and these types of stylized sculptures of pop icons or popular media characters they're everywhere. They're not just existing in comic book stores. They're in all types of different stores out there. And I guarantee you there's a market for this. And, if you build out, do an entire series. We've got a Donkey Kong, do a Donkey Kong Jr. If you've got Donkey Kong Jr., do or Diddy Kong, then turn around and do Didi. Is that her name? The female version of her, do a version of the old guy as well. So you have the whole little Donkey Kong tribe that's happening. Doing one of the King Lizard character, or if there's any other video games that are hitting right now, right? So like the Sun Wukong, the Monkey King game, that's going absolutely buck wild. The Monkey King has been represented 1 million times before within pop culture. And you have the ability to be able to go in there and create your own. And he's not going to have any less popularity after how many copies of this game has just sold. The rest of the world has just been reintroduced to Journey to the West in a massive way. I hope that gives you some good ideas for how we can monetize these pieces and actually take some action. Have you thought about putting together a website?
I have not.
Okay.
Because there are couple things that I think of when I try, if I were to put it on a website, is the copyright, and also, I'm taking concepts from an artist, turning their concept into 3D. And I don't know, I'm not sure like what's the conflict if I was to sell them, or as I say, a service of printing these characters out.
I understand. Yeah. So printing another artist's work, that is a bit of a thing there. But I would say that at this point, you've got the blueprint after all these other sculptures that you've done. So if you start with their concept art and then use this character model, this type of shape, and then apply this over to other characters within Squid Games, you are in the free and clear. So if this is someone's concept art for Donkey Kong, then you've got the ability to be able to go in and make the other characters in that same likeness, and then you're no longer infringing on their properties. So if we've got Ryu, then go ahead and do a Ken within this same style. You can still use the same arm pieces on it, and even the legs, and just a recolor and change the head, and I think you're in a pretty good spot.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, this Rock Lee looking Sakura. Go ahead and do a Cammy like that as well. Everyone loves Cammy. Yeah, so I think that the Lego dude might be an issue, but gosh, my opinion is always, if you start selling 400, 500 units of these, then you've got an issue. But if you sell 5 or 6 of them and then leave them on your website and just say that it's out of stock, just to be able to look like your catalog is larger for original characters that are there, I don't think you have an issue. I don't think you have a problem.
Okay, got it. Don't make no more than 400.
Yeah. I cannot imagine what kind of lawyers Funko Pop has for how many different partnerships and pop culture references they've been able to produce. But that would also be an interesting company to reach out to and just ask them, how did you guys actually, what is the process for going through and getting licensing to be able to do a likeness of a character? Or you can even ask the artist too, man, and say, hey, look, here we can do a 3D model of your character, of your concept art. If you want to whip out, 7 more of these, and I'll give you a 10 or 15% cut on any one of these items that's sold. And now all of a sudden you've got a team of artists that's doing more concept art for more Squid Game characters. And potentially they're getting work for their portfolio. They're getting exposure, and suddenly you become the distributor for their 3D figurines.
Okay. But besides the figurine, so the elective that I took is likeness, and it's a little bit, or it's starting to make me think of like going to a different direction as well.
What else you got?
Right now, doing the likeness elective, and it's not finished. Well, it will be posted, but it's. Have you seen the TV show The Warrior?
The Warrior, is that the one that's kind of like a Western with the dudes from Shanghai or from Hong Kong?
Yep.
That comes over?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know.
So I did one of the character in there, and then I was talking to the instructor and Yusuf, and I'm starting to like likeness, even though I had never imagined me doing likeness.
I dig it. Yeah, there was something that popped up in AI generated art a while ago where they did the movie Kung Fu Hustle, but as if it was in 2D animated frames, and it turned out absolutely beautiful. It was amazing. So yeah, I mean, likeness. So is this more like realism that you're creating, or?
Correct.
I got you. Okay. Well, I mean, go for it. There's going to be a market out there for someone that can do the ultra realistic 3D looking characters or the human faces. That's never going to stop. Again, that's a portfolio where if you're going to do something like this, I would recommend utilizing those 3D models within a visual effects reel so that people know what the end product for these is going to be. And then the same goes for each one of these characters, right? So they look like figurines, they look like desktops already, but download a program called KeyShot. Have you ever used KeyShot before?
Nope.
All right. So KeyShot is this really, how to describe it? So it's just it's for product renders. And what it does is it drops in HDR backgrounds. So you don't have to do a full product render. It allows you to be able to set the product and match the lighting to the environment. So we've got this microphone here. Likely the rest of this is all KeyShot image. And it allows you to be able to drop your 3D figurines into the space, match the lighting, give the shadows for the ground, and then helps people just visually connect that this is a 3D figurine that was actually printed. I'll show you some examples on my website of some KeyShot stuff. So I did a while ago the branding and art direction for this sparkling water brand called Azili, water with a purpose. And these are the KeyShot renders from it. So these of course aren't the real cans. This is just the packaging mock-up that I dropped into Maya and then exported the model into KeyShot and then was able to get these guys out. That one doesn't look all that great, but you get the idea. You can drop a photograph in there, place the object onto the surface, and then it helps people just sort of connect with where the final product is going and what it is going to be. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So what I'm trying to describe is telling the story of, if you're going to do ultra realistic 3D likeness, make sure that people understand what the final thing is. So I can turn around and I can give a client a business card design like this, but most people who aren't artists or that are looking to hire artists are either hiring managers or they're people who are not that creative. So we can see the potential of how this could look like as a business card within our heads. But for non-artists, they really need to be able to see it in this kind of way with the eggshell material for the paper so that they get the idea of, oh, okay, that looks really sweet. I get it now. I see where this is going. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, that type of stuff. You get it? It's clever. Azili, it's got a watermark on the from a can on the business card because it's a water company. Funny. Okay. Anyways, okay, cool. So just to wrap it up with you before we move on to the next fella is you got two different options in front of you. You've got one project for the likeness right now. There's no reason why you cannot have both of these running in tandem. That you do have on the back end the manufacturing and the sell of the figurines. And then for the high paying day-to-day job, the 9 to 5, you're doing likeness for an animation studio or for a visual effects house. And that's a great portfolio to have as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, do you have any more questions for me?
Not right now.
Okay. Well, hey, yeah, that brings me to a next good point. So let me add my stuff in here. If you want to follow me on the IGs, I'd love to follow you back. It's Skato.org. That's SKATO.org. On Instagram, there's a Facebook page. There's a Behance. There's an ArtStation. That's my website as well. YouTube channel. where I'm moving towards right now is reading about the book Sapiens. I've never heard of it before. What I want to do is start taking all of the demo videos that I do. Come on, buddy. There we go. For digital design, graphic design, that type of stuff, and eventually put it all behind a paywall on my website so that people can just sign up, and then it's timed where it gets released for each week. And I end up creating my own little design school on here. So yeah, these are all the walkthrough videos of paint pieces that I've done, so that they're not just living on my Instagram as, where's my Instagram? Here it is, as one little post, but instead, you can go in and actually see the entire breakdown for it. So I don't know. I'm always thinking about ways that I can, if I'm putting this much work into something, how I can turn around and later on continue to have that work, even after it's done and completed, continue to make money for me down the line. So, all right. Next up, Najib. Did I say it correct?
Yep. Hello.
Najib, where are you calling in from today?
From England.
England. All right. Well, I'm right below you. I'm in Portugal right now.
Oh, very nice. Same time zone.
Yeah, I'm in Porto.
Woo.
Yeah, you ever been to Porto before?
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
Closest I've been is France.
You've been to
Morocco. Been France. I've been Morocco, but not in between to Portugal.
Yeah, it seems like no one really ever goes to this section of the world. It's been forgotten for the most part. Even the Romans didn't really set up too much infrastructure within Porto. Yeah. But yeah, Portugal and England get along real well. Porto gives you guys all the wine. Yeah, that's what I've been learning.
Nice.
Yes, sir. Well, if you do me a favor, would you please share out your
Sure. Give me 1 second. Here's a link. There you go.
Thanks.
Just that's what I got so far.
All right. Look,
I don't know where I'm going with my portfolio, but I thought I'd just share what I've done so far.
What is going on with Pikachu?
He's sad.
He's a sad Pikachu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
that wasn't intentional, but I just went with it.
Say that again?
I originally planned on making him happy, but I realized, hold on, this is turning sad, so I just went with it.
Yeah. So is he's a wood carving?
This is a 3D model.
Yeah, I know. But is the 3D model meant to look like a wood carving?
Mm-hmm. It's meant to be fur.
Say what?
It's meant to be a bit of fur.
Okay, cool. I'm just looking at the top right ear up here, and it sort of looks like the lines you might see if you're using whittling or wood carving tools. And yeah, as you're pushing down, it kind of looks like the frayed chips from that occur when you're doing any kind of wood carving as well. All right, so then the fur that's on him kind of looks like, he had a satin sort of fuzzy finish, and over the years, it's sort of the glue that was holding it on there, binded it, has kind of fallen off, and he's started to lose it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the concept.
Yep, which is why it's sad.
And that's why he's sad. Yeah, he hasn't been loved. He hasn't been on a desktop in a long time. That is a really, really interesting concept for Pikachu. I like it.
Mm-hmm. I thought, because I think Detective Pikachu movie was just came out at the time, so I thought, let me do a version of it while it's still relevant.
Yeah, well, it's fresh and in the pop culture lexicon. Did you like the movie?
Mm-hmm. I thought it was fun. Quite liked it.
I thought it was super cool. Yeah, I didn't know about Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, but it worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a really, really unique concept that you've got there. Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of funkiness that's going down on his feet with the reflectivity and the white sort of breaking through.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you've got a high enough resolution model here that it is worth doing a super close up to be able to show off the ear and the fuzz and all the stuff that's existing right around his eye as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe one more close up render to be able to show off that texture just a little bit better.
Sure, that's a good point. Yeah, I'll look into it.
Cool. All right, man. Well, these are some interesting pieces that you've got here. So I'm glad to see that you've got your technical robot arm that's all rigged up. That's always fun.
Some of there's basically how I've done it. The top half is my models, and then the second half is all my animation stuff.
I see. Okay.
Cool. So up to the alien is basically my models, and then anything after is my up to the So this is all my animation stuff.
I got you. A boy in a cube world. And is this a pre-rig character that you're working with?
I've modeled, everything's modeled and textured myself.
Okay, gotcha. Right on. Yep. So the character here, he looks stylized. He looks like a children's toy.
Mm-hmm.
Again, which is fine. I would just play into that. Right. So within this 3D render with the two cubes, if you turn them into the children's like wooden blocks, that might not be a bad idea. And then, give it some kind of desktop or some type of carpet that the character is on as well. And that would help sell the idea and justify the stylization instead of the super reflective ground that the character's on, just to give it a little bit more context. And if you are going to continue down the path with 3D animation, I'd get the pre-rigs that are out there and start working with those guys. And those are really pretty slick rigs. It saves you a ton of time. I think you've already demoed within your portfolio that you do know rigging, and that's such a great skill. Rigging is one of the fastest ways to be able to break into any animation or gaming studio out there, especially for mobile games, because there's so many more mobile.
So the robot arm, the zombie hand, and the other alien thing, they're models that I found, which I basically just rigged up and did animation test on. I didn't model them. So I didn't model them. I did the rigging process. I went with it.
I got you. Mm-hmm. Cool. I think that's really, really creative. So something like this pairs really, really nicely with motion graphics. And this is a great one. If you got a zombie hand to go through there and think about creating the graphics that happen behind a DJ whenever they're doing like a giant show. And you've got all the lasers that are pew-pewing everywhere. And having the hand do its different hand signals there is really a pretty fun one. We've got Halloween coming up right around the corner. So if you still have got this zombie hand rigged, I would push it towards, and you also have Beetlejuice that's coming out very soon. So you could even do the Addams Family. They're spooky and they're kooky. The Addams Family. And do yourself a cool little motion graphics animation, so that we're just stylizing these a little bit better. And that'll help again to be able to add the context, because you got a cool looking hand. It's doing some cool stuff, but the background and the scenery is not really helping it too much right now. Let me get back into my videos. I'll show you an example.
I don't know what to do with it, because I don't want the background to be too distracting to what I was trying to do there, if that makes sense.
You don't want it to be too distracting?
Because I wanted the focus to be on the rig rather than everything else in the background.
Yeah. So generally when people are doing like video breakdowns of how they made something, they'll show off that video with just the hand in the white, which is the tester video. But at the top, they're going to lead with the really flashy one that's crazy looking. I'm trying to find one that I did for Hot Ones. Have you guys ever watched that show? The show with hot questions and even hotter wings?
Maybe. I feel like I've heard about it.
Okay, no, we're getting. These are not organized clearly. This is a 3-second video. No, this will be better to show on my website. Okay, Let me show you what I mean. I think this is a good lesson for you. So this is Diablo Saw Blades. This particular this project for me, they had me going through and creating 3D renders of different pieces of construction equipment. This company had no idea how to do anything with 3D modeling. And so I asked them, I said, do you want these to be like photorealistic? What depth do you want on the model? And they said, yeah, make them photorealistic. And I was like, okay. And that extended my contract by like 6 months. I made 6 times the amount of money as if I'd made low resolution models. And in that time, I had while they were getting back to me, I had free time. So in my free time within this brand, I started doing a bunch of branding exercises and just quick little animations, right? So with the hand that you've got, you can even do a Spirit of Halloween logo. Have you ever heard of that company before?
No.
All right. This is an American company, and this is where here it is. They're everywhere across the United States, and this is like the Walmart for Halloween. So they've got everything you could possibly want Halloween related, every costume under the sun. It's like the ultimate Halloween store. And you could go in and turn that hand into something that reveals the Spirit of Halloween logo, and then turn around and tag them on social media. And suddenly you've got an output for this product. So instead of just doing a hand tester, then you're going through and attaching it to something else. So I want to show you another one. This was one of the saw blades, one of the saws that I created for them. And then I wanted to go through and do a test to see how I could actually cut through wood and have the sawdust actually appear. And so with the 3D model that I made for them, I did a quick little render like this. And now I've got a beautiful portfolio piece to show off that looks nice and realistic, but it's 3D. Here's another one. This was for a sander sheet. So that's what the product actually looked like. This is the actual scan of it. And then this is the texture and the material that I ended up making. It's got these weird little hairs on it, but it's just a sanding disc. And so how do you take something as freaking boring as a sanding disc and then turn it into an interesting motion graphic? Well, that's what I did. So I'm showing off the texture. All of a sudden the sander comes in, get some spin on it, gets exciting, get the sawdust coming away. And now we've got a really cool motion graphic for an otherwise very boring 3D model that I created. Here's another one. They had me do a ton of different materials that were going to go on the packaging for their various saw blades to show off what their saws could actually cut through. And I did a quick little render of these very, very basic shapes with some motion graphics elements attached to them. And now all of a sudden these, ultra realistic looking 3D models that are otherwise the most boring shapes in the entire world look really, really cool and exciting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
See the point I'm trying to get?
This is stuff I didn't know about until now.
Say what?
No, this is something I didn't know about until now, to be honest. So this is quite cool.
Yeah, man. So there's the renders for them. And, just showing off the render by itself, it's realistic. It's cool looking. But there's a lot more that we can do with stuff like this, right? So giving it just a little bit of context and thinking about how we can pair motion graphics with some of these elements that you've already created. Oh, where'd your website go? Now, when we go back to this hand, I hope you can see some of the awesome stuff that you could create along with it, right? Yeah. It's cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, man. So that project was, again, just for packaging on the front of the saw blades. But instead, because I very consciously made sure that my renders were cool looking and interesting along the way, I was able to get a really neat portfolio piece out of it that's gotten me a lot of work since then. This robot looks absolutely great. He's super cool. Again, I would think about using the program Keyshot and dropping him into some type of environment just so that the materials match within the environment. And all of a sudden now we've got some good context for where this robot should exist at. You modeled the robot, you got him all set up. He looks brilliant. I love the tight details that we're showing off in the further shots. But again, giving some kind of context beyond just the black and gray background here really helps a lot. You can even take a character like this and drop him into, oh God, what's the website? We talked about it in one of the previous classes, Mixmundo or something like that, where it'll apply motion capture data like dance moves and other things to a 3D model that you created.
Mixamo,
yeah. Yeah, this would be a wonderful character to drop into Mixamo and have him start to do a little bit of a walk cycle that you don't have to worry about the animation for. It's not cheating in any kind of way, and let me explain why. So I've got lots of friends that I went to college with, one of which was the art director for Big Hero 6. I've got other friends that have worked for Aardman Studios. They're the guys who do the sheep and the claymation. What's the English guy with the big teeth that's in claymation? Wallace and Gromit. Yeah. So he worked on Wallace and Gromit, and then he went on to do Caroline, and then Kubo and the Two Strings, and every one of these dudes that when they got their first jobs in one of these big studios, all of a sudden on their portfolios, they start showing off the final rendered clips from the film, even though their job was just to handle the lighting, or their job was just to go in and make sure that the hair was in the right position each time. This idea that you might have right now, Najib, is that you need to be the purist. You need to show you're doing the rigging, you're doing the texture, you're doing the character. You don't need to do all that stuff. So if you've got a 3D model, take this dude, drop him into Mixamo, Maximo, whatever it's called, do Keyshot, drop him into a background space to where the lighting matches with the character. And suddenly, without doing any more work really with this guy, you've got him moving, you've got him animated. And suddenly those people who are not the creatives you've already demonstrated you can do the rigging elsewhere. You've already demonstrated that you can light a character, that you can render a character out, that you can do the 3D modeling. It's just about showing what the end product actually looks like. I'll show you another example within my website. So this is what I spent 8 months last year doing the rebranding for my CDC VR team. And over that entire year, we did so much work coming up with the logo explorations, all this stuff, the concepting, why we're doing what we're doing, what are our brand, tenants, and all this other crazy stuff. So through this, a lot of this stuff never got used. All of it got thrown out. The logo got thrown out, and this thing ended up being the final logo. It's really, really ugly. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the product work that's in here, but it's flashy, it gets people's attention, and it helps to show off, what the branding is actually all about. And within each one of my projects within my portfolio, it kind of works this way. So this is one that I did while I was getting my MFA in advertising. Come on, buddy. There it goes. So this whole little logo that never actually got used for Goodwill, it's a thrift store in the United States, has got its own little motion graphic that's attached to it. And then later on down the line, I did make the packaging. There were some other executions that were pretty interesting, like this one. So this does not exist in the real world. This is 3D modeled. And this is where you would go to donate your clothes to the secondhand consignment shop. And the way that it works is you grab the top of the t-shirt and open it up. The hands kind of open up like they're giving you a hug, and then you pull open the bin, and that's where you drop the clothes into for where you're going to make a donation. And again, this is a 3D model. This was never produced in the real world, but adding that context to with that program Keyshot and dropping it into a space and adding the shadow on the ground really helps to sell the idea and where this thing is going to live at. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. All right. I hope that's somewhat useful for you. The owl is
cool. Yeah.
The owl is awesome looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saving him for a second. So why only one render on the owl?
Yeah, because that was a tutorial project. This is demonstrate my rendering skills.
Okay, that's all right. So if you're doing a tutorial project, I think that and you're just building out your portfolio from the beginning, I would still continue to go through and show off a couple other renders of the owl and just continue to play with this character and see what else you can produce with it, just to show some different looks. Just the other day, I was going through, and they have this website now that allows you to be able to drop your logo into AI, and it's supposed to. So this is my logo from a website, and it's supposed to go through and put the logo into an AI environment. So I was going through and playing with that on what it can actually look like. So I would say that it's worth showing the owl in a couple different forms and different textures. And by doing this, you can really create a cool series of prints or other things that you might want to sell or, divvy out later on, just to be able to show your breadth when it comes to 3D stuff. So there's no reason why on that owl that you have, you can't, drop on there some kind of make him look like he's made out of glass or something like that, or a refractive crystal material. And that could give you some pretty cool results, just to be able to see this same image in a variety of different ways, and then make a little GIF of that, or a little quick MP4 can look really pretty neat and pretty unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Weird, right? So we've got all these different explorations. And this is Immersity AI. So I took my flat rendered image real quick and then just dropped it in there so I could get a quick camera pan that's moving around it. And all that stuff is free. Like the little clay dude, he's really fun. Happy to see him on a wooden bench top. That looks absolutely great.
I thought that was pretty cool actually. So I did the bench by myself, the alien. I saw like a concept art, so I just turned that into 3D. I put my little bench that I textured to give it a bit more context rather than just some random model.
Exactly, sir. Yeah, that is the beginning of what I'm asking you to do with a lot of your pieces here. So Pikachu's absolutely awesome. And as we start to get into some of these 3D characters, this fellow looks like he just had a hair transplant and it's starting to grow back in. So we need to up the density on the hair on this guy. Yeah. This is another one of those where
the hair's a bit weird.
It is weird, yeah.
Yeah, they look fine, but then when I render it out, it's like, that's the best I can get it. I need to look into it.
Yeah, I'd say this one isn't quite ready to show off yet. So we've got some other issues that are going on with the spottiness that's happening on the face. The area around the lips is looking a little bit strange, like he just had a drink of chocolate milk. And then if he's got a goatee or a beard, we need to up the amount of instances that are going on with it. Okay, for the witch character, is she a witch? No, what is she? She's a warrior. This is a warrior, right? Is she a warrior? Witch? What is she?
Mage, witch thing. I'm not too sure what it is, but it's like the original concept, they call it a mage.
Okay. Mage with elf ears, a Chinese dragon, and then sort of you got a lot of stuff going on within this particular character. I would say for this one, we've got some really, really shiny skin that's going on it. And this is going to be an early exploration for you that I think you will be able to move past fairly quickly within your career. So this would be the project that I would drop as quickly as possible. I think that this one looks really, really beautiful. This is gorgeous here. That one looks so sick.
That's a model, but that's not the main model. That's just a model I use for the rigging purposes.
Say that again.
That's not one of my models. I just use that for the rigging exercise.
I understand.
So anything I added on that was probably the emission. But other than that, the model is not mine.
That's okay, man. Still, you can still show off camera movements within this. You can explore depth of field. You can do, sort of a rotating animation, just like we saw with that Sander, where it comes in really, or the branding character for the Freud or Diablo Saw Blades, where it comes in really close to the beginning and then zooms back and then, dissipates or does something within the animation in an interesting way to be able to add some effects in there and tell a cool little character introduction. Sort of like if you just, I don't know, you're doing like an RPG or something on your phone, then all of a sudden you activate an enemy encounter and then this guy shows up and then this is the little movie before the fight begins. Yeah. All right. And then what's your banner up here at the top?
Little dinosaur thing. I did do a sculpt of a dinosaur, but which I dropped it. When I looked at it again, the textures were there's some funkiness going with the textures, so I just took it off. But I did have a sculpt of like a little dinosaur.
Okay.
I got someone to turn into 2D, so that it become a little mascot.
All right, that's your mascot. I would say, for the mascot, again, look at some other logos that are out there and some logo forms and shapes, just to be able to tighten it up. So within the 3D world, it's not really showing off the best looking 3D character in the entire space. It doesn't have a good silhouette that's happening with it. And this is one of those that you can go back and revisit it and start to build and make it stronger, like a 2.0, a 3.0 later on. And 5 years down the line, you'll look at this character and you'll say, oh my goodness, this was my starting point, and here's where I'm at now. So even if annually you go back and work on this character a little bit each year, that might not be a bad idea.
Awesome.
Oh, where to go? Scato website. Yeah. So years ago, see if we can get this one to open up. I remember I was having fun with my logo, and this is where I actually came up with the with this seashell kind of look and design. And I was playing around in there, and I was like, oh yeah, I can write Scato, Skato, like it's World War II or something, little items that'll look cool. And then I could do like a dragon guy with the bubble letters on the top of it, because I was still very much into 2D and 3D animation at the time. And I thought that would be fun. Still a cute little concept. Then I had this sweet looking griffin thing that I created. This is like an Adobe Flash to give you an idea of how long ago this was when I was making this thing. But yeah, this is the one that I landed on. And then I went through and I 3D modeled it. And then I added a little bit of rotation at the top of my website. And this is what I've been using for my website ever since. I like this branding logo because it goes through and it's a unique shape that's appealing to people's minds. So the color scheme for my website is based on a beach. Everyone likes a good day out at the beach. It's a relaxing place. It's a contemplative space. And it's sort of like the pearl inside of the oyster or inside of the shell, and that there's a lot of tight little details. So the curves are very appealing and easy on the eyes. And then we've got these tight little details of wonder and things that are sort of spilling out of the inside of it. And it also looks a little bit like a spaceship as well, or a modern Sydney Opera House type thing. And I think it's a pretty unique shape that represents a lot of my design tenets. And that's why I landed on that. But I've revisited it over the years. Like you saw just the other day, I was going through and playing with the logo exploration still on that thing. And I always like to have fun with it. So each year I also go through on my website. Let's go to work. And I keep on playing with it. So keep on tinkering and having fun with your brand. Scato logo animations. All right, so again, what you're going to see here are just a bunch of weird little logo explorations, and just like you have within your website, where we're just trying to figure out something new, or maybe doing a tutorial and creating something interesting with the letter forms. Kind of cool. Weird, right? Here's another one. This one hasn't played in years. Maybe. Oh, no, there it goes. So it's got a bunch of particles that are starting to grow, and then they drop out. Here's another one. You can tell I've been doing these for a while. So I just thought that one was visually interesting looking with the water that's moving away. Super old. That's from like Toonami back in like the early 2000s back in the day. This is totally what a lot of their station identifiers used to look like. Yeah. And I've done plenty more of them since then. But yeah. So what's the end goal for you? Where do you want to end up at with this 3D journey? Because we've got rigging, we've got modeling, we've got lighting, we've got texturing. What area do you see yourself wanting to specialize?
Probably more towards the animation side.
Okay.
Like working with stylized characters, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I understand. So I love 3D animation. And one of my biggest problems with that was I had the same mentality where I felt like I had to do everything. Mm-hmm. If I wasn't creating all of the background elements, if I wasn't creating all the lighting, then I was doing something wrong. And then I kept on seeing friend after friend. I wanted to be my own little production studio. And that's kind of what I have now on my website at this point. But the trick to that
sometimes I feel like I don't know what I want to do. If that makes sense. As I do all this.
Yeah, look at me. I'm just counting sheep on my website. So, trying to figure it out. But that's sort of the catch here is that what I want to encourage you. If you want to do animation, then make sure that what you're animating is just quick little experiments, just like you're doing with the hand. Mm-hmm. And, if you want to do character animation, then for character animation, it needs to be someone who is just picking up a sandwich and taking a big old bite and then chewing and looking satisfied. These little quick 3-second, 5-second explorations of acting is really what you want to do. You're not trying to tell an entire gag. You're not trying to tell an entire movie. You're not trying to tell a story at all. It comes down to just these quick little one night, I'm going to go in with a pre-rigged character that I like using, and I want to make this character eat a sandwich. Throw on an audiobook, start setting up your keyframes, and start doing the tweening and the in-betweens for it, and then get into the graph editor and really smooth out those animations and get your held frames right. And if you can do those quick little subtle animations, then that is what's going to end up turning into your animation reel. I spent a year in 2020. I wanted to create 1 full minute of animation that looked like it could be on a TV show in 2D animation. Hadn't done 2D animation in years, hadn't been paid for it. I was teaching 2D animation at a state school in Georgia. And after that year, I did end up with 1 full minute. But each one of these little experiments that you're going to see here, there's another logo that's not on my website, ended up turning into a 1:15 long demo reel. So each one of these is just 5, 3, maybe 8 seconds long for animated explorations. A quick little lip sync where a character is delivering 1 or 2 lines of dialogue. You don't need an entire movie monologue for a lip sync, and you just need to continue to create these short little tight executions. Each one of these with the full backgrounds and all the other stuff, if each one's 10 seconds or so long, would take me about a month to be able to fully finish.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, if you're not doing all this extra stuff like the effects and the camera movement and all that stuff in there, and it's just focusing on the acting, if 3D animation is what you want to do, that'll help get you to the next stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. You got any more questions for me?
Yeah, I was thinking about more technical animations to do all the rigs and stuff. So I don't know how much different that will be in terms of a show reel, demo reel.
Yeah, technical animations are great. That's a wonderful way to be able to get into a studio. And you should have no trouble showing off. If you that's what you're going to be showing off, you should have no trouble getting into a space with that. Yeah, they're always hungry to hire someone who wants to do the technical animations.
Yeah, got started off in coding. I thought, well, the first introduction to coding was actually doing all the tech adding stuff like visual effects and stuff. That's how I got into animation in the first place, through coding.
Say that last part again. That's how.
Basically, my first introduction to animation was learning how to code particle effects and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So well, that's actually what got me into the animation and 3D in general.
Ah, that's how you got here. I understand. Well, in my experience, the more you know, the more cross-pollination of ideas happen. And that, as you're continuing to expand out your skill set and learning the lighting and really diving in and studying this stuff, the better those particle animations are going to be for you, and the better all your other skills are going to be. The more 3D work that I do, the better my 2D stuff gets, the more branding and graphic design that I do, the better my motion graphics works get. And it's all connected. It really is. So
yeah, because from that I started learning some general 3D, like basic 3D modeling and all that good stuff. And then I realized, like, I'm really digging character stuff, like character animation, rigging, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something I don't know where I want to go with this, but that's currently my interest at the moment.
You'll probably end up in Vietnam if you want to be a character animator.
How so?
Huh?
How come?
Well, really simple. So LA doesn't make anything anymore. It's filled with writers and lawyers. They were shipping off all of their contracts to Canada for a long time for motion graphics and visual effects because there was a tax incentive for the editors union in Canada. But this caused Disney originally to start shipping everything over to China, but then China got too expensive. Japan was shipping everything to China as well. And then they had the one-child law. The one-child law grew up into the generation of kings and queens, or princes and princesses. And that one kid for the family is not going to go work in an animation sweatshop like I did for 2 years. And so they want them to have a good paying job, and they won't do it. So China ended up outsourcing all of their work over to Vietnam or Laos. And that's where a lot of the entry level character animation work happens nowadays. They might have some senior animators that are doing the keys and the timing for the shots, but the in-betweening and the junior level positions are all in that region of the world at this time, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're seeing anything from Pixar that's come out, stick around and watch the credits, and you're going to have a long roll at the end with a lot of Asian names, and write down the studio's names for who they partnered with at the end. And start looking up the websites and looking at the locations, and you're going to find a lot of them are in that region of the world.
Well, that's quite interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. The more you know. That's what we're here for today, talking about this stuff. All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing your work. And Santino, last but certainly not least, how are you?
Hello.
Hello. Rock and roll. Let's check it out. Hey, now I've seen some of these before. Cool. Certainly not least. All right, Santino, where do you want to end up at? What kind of work do you want to do?
Character artist.
Character artist for what?
For Capcom. It's my dream.
For Capcom. All right. Golly, I knew this. I got shown an example portfolio one time for Overwatch, where this person was so in love with the idea of working for Blizzard when Blizzard was great and Overwatch was at the top of its game. And they wanted to go into UI UX design. So they wanted to do game like menus and things like that. And so they designed their entire website to mimic or recreate the Overwatch game style. And so as you clicked on everything, there were all kinds of animations and everything would play through. And it felt like you were inside of a video game while you're on their portfolio site. And it was such specialization. It was the biggest like fanboy website I've ever seen before in my entire life, that they would not be able to get a job anywhere else. Luckily, they did get a job at Blizzard. Their dream came true. But this type of like Hail Mary stuff and, you know, first rule of Fight Club, you know, leave them outside with no food or water or encouragement for 3 days. If they're still there, then they're allowed in. Or was that Project Mayhem? I guess that's Project Mayhem later on in the movie. Is not cool. So yeah, I think that I wanted to work for Disney since I was a little kid. And it took me, and I'm not trying to sound bitter here at all, but I'm just being realistic. I'm going to be 40, like next week or something. And then I realized that if I'm going to get a job at Disney, I'm going to have one job. My job is going to be able to press the red button every 182 minutes. And if I do that, then I work at Disney and I have a job. And that's going to be my role for the next 5 years. And then after that, maybe they'll let me press the red and the blue button within that space. And, you know, and then you can say that you work at Disney. My dream job still to this day would be like a Disney Imagineer. I'd love to go in and like create the immersive experiences. Your portfolio looks phenomenal. Please keep your options open to be able to work somewhere besides Capcom.
Sure.
Yeah, this work will, especially, I mean, this one over here on the right-hand side, it looks like one of those bugs that have like the electric chrome effect on it. And it just looks absolutely captivating and beautiful. And that's so cool to be able to see the breakdown that you have for this while we're seeing the normals and we're still keeping the lighting on there, the wireframes, a little bit of dense of a mesh, but that's okay. Cool. That is so much fun. So do you have a reel that you've put together yet?
Yeah, on Instagram.
On Instagram, okay. Yeah, I would consider, if you've got a series of these little animations or turnarounds and stuff like that, putting together an actual demo reel. Man, that's so pretty looking.
Thank
you. Yeah. Upload it to YouTube, get it on Venmo, and start sending that out. Because the portfolio's there. There we go. Yeah, all of this stuff, all the breakdowns, character turnarounds. Cool. Love the micro detailing or the mesh, and that we've got a different material or different texture that's going on for the reflective part within the drapery. That looks really, really strong. This is a cool little piece. We need something on the bottom there. That looks slick. It's a great piece of concept art. The early works. Yeah. You can always tell. So with this one, I would say that there's still some really strong areas on this. This is my favorite render within this piece so far. And if you're putting this on a demo reel, you just do a turnaround with the light, you know, give it 45 degrees. So it just sort of turns around the bust and we get to see the light move around the leather detailing and with the green and the light on it. And that's all you need. You don't need to show the character's face. She's got kind of dead eyes that are going on there right now, but there's some really great stuff that's happening within this render that I think is really, really strong in this space. And these details are really nice also. So I would even shoot this thing to where, we just cut her eyes off of it. The hair looks really strong with the lighting on it too. And this is a great quick little 3-second render that you can put within the website. Man, it's a cool stylized thing with the armor all the way on it. But I think now if you went back and revisited this, you would make some different choices for how the armor is displayed, or give it a little bit more detailing, because we can see the sort of metal smudges that are going on there, almost like the start of oxidization on the armor. That's just a little bit distracting. Without it, with the coat and then with the metal piece as well, I think this model works quite a bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you heard back from any of these studios? Has there been any bites yet?
Sorry?
Have you heard back? Have you gotten any emails? Have you been in the running? Have you had any interviews?
No.
Say that again?
No.
How many emails have you sent off? You still there? Am I still there?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't understand.
Let me slow down. So how many studios have you sent your resume and your portfolio to?
0.
Nobody yet.
No.
Okay.
I'm afraid. I don't know how search a job.
You don't know how to search for a job?
No.
Okay. Well, I think that you certainly have got the skill set and the portfolio at this point, and enough 3D models to put together a reel to start emailing some folks, buddy. Like,
well, yeah.
Yeah.
But all the job offer are for senior or lead character, nothing for junior.
I see. So you haven't been able to find any junior roles.
Mm-hmm. Everything needs 3 years or 5.
Right. And each one wants you to have like 2 launched AAA video games that are already out there, that are published and to market.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, they're still pulling that crap. Okay, cool. So for that one, the best way to get into it is to sidestep it. You've got a beautiful 3D modeling portfolio here, and the trick is, okay, we need some more renders of this gal.
Yeah.
The trick is to start looking up these people who work at these studios on LinkedIn and start following them on Instagram, start liking their work, start commenting out on their stuff. More than likely, if you comment on their work, which doesn't happen all the time, they will look at your portfolio and start following you also. And then you start to organically build your network within that world and start inserting yourself into that space.
Okay.
When it comes to getting over the 3 to 5 years worth of experience in the 2 launched AAA titles, screw the AAA part. These guys are bleeding people left and right, and the video game industry is having a lot of trouble keeping top talent on. I would recommend, again, moving towards the mobile games, because the mobile games want to be able to hire people that can do stuff this well. Right? They see a character like this and they're like, oh my God, we need this in our massive MMO that we're creating for Android platform that's going to have all kinds of paywalls and structures. And people that play those mobile games spend thousands of dollars in them. I know dudes who are wealthy from their parents in the United States, and the amount of money they have spent on Clash of Clans per month would make you cry.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, oh, my battery's low. So that's my recommendation, is to start reaching out to the mobile gaming companies. I think you'll find that the rules for getting in with them are a little more laxed, and a lot of times they pay a lot better than the AAA video game companies, because the life cycle for their mobile games is a lot longer than the life cycle for a console video game. So anything that comes out on Xbox, even the best one, the one that's winning Game of the Year award, in 5 years, no one's going to be playing that game. But I guarantee you, if I logged into Clash of Clans right now, there's hundreds and thousands of players that are still within that space, and that game's been running for over 10 years. And because they have the reoccurring income, they pay their artists better. There's not as big of a, if they already have an established game or a game that's a hit, they're going to have no problem. The timelines are going to be a lot less. Within these AAA video games, it's churn and burn. So you have 2, maybe 3 years if you're doing really good to be able to get your next title out. So the amount of time between the Spider-Man open world game and then the sequel was like a year and a half. So as soon as they drop that first one, they're already in production on the second one and working, and they're grinding people completely into the ground within those gaming studios. I think that the mobile world is much more welcoming and it's a happier place. And then, you know, once you get some of those games under your belt and your portfolio continues to build, you'll know people within the industry, and more than likely you will eventually get drug into one of those AAA titles. But by that point, you'll be in a position to be able to negotiate instead of beg.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's do a quick search. All right. Wow. I can't believe this is still showing up. So yeah, EA has got a massive mobile division. Nintendo, not so much. Niantic, that's our Pokemon Go fellas who have not been able to create another hit game since Pokemon Go. But Pokemon Go is sort of like World of Warcraft, where it's bringing in so much money that they don't really need to make another game. This has made them millions of dollars, an absurd amount of money. Zynga, I have no idea what Zynga is still creating, but the Farmville days on Facebook gaming was an entire era of game design and really created the casino gaming model. They started off within poker games and then applied that same logic to popular gaming, and it made them millions, but they haven't really made anything in a long time. Yeah, I would start looking and doing some research into, mobile gaming companies. Never heard of these guys. Jackpocket, or if you've got a mobile game that you play a lot that is in a similar style to the art that you're creating, then consider, reaching out to them on LinkedIn. Look up their hiring manager, look up their lead 3D artist, friend them, message them, ask them directly if they've got any hiring or if they're planning any hiring rounds for the next season or for the next quarter. And you'll likely be able to get your way in there pretty quick, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that give you a good roadmap moving forward?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Do you guys have any more questions for me today? We're a little bit over on time. Where you're at. Cool.
Sorry. I have a question.
What's up?
So it was kind of what you were saying with Santino there. I was just going to say if there's a game company that I want to go try to get a job, but they're not currently hiring or looking. Now, how would I go approaching like, hey, I could do the same kind of artwork or same style, but they're not hiring.
Yeah. So the way that works is all of these gaming studios, they're gonna know internally if they've got a new job that they're gonna start and what it is that they want to create next once they get the funding for it. So the lead artist, the creative directors, the head of the visual effects department, you can talk to all these people on LinkedIn. You can talk to them on Instagram, no problem. This is a small world, ultimately. And they will let you know, and they'll get back to you if they like your work. And I think that all of you guys have got some good stuff in here. There's always room for improvement with the way that we show it off. But yeah, do not just settle for the website, right? The website very rarely gets updated. No one really does that. No, in these studios, no one updates the website. LinkedIn, Glass, they might post something on there, but that's sort of a Hail Mary. They hire people that they know already with, and if they're not hiring, say, hey, please keep me in mind if you guys need any help on a contractual basis. And they might throw you a character, or it might throw you some game assets that they created as a tester. And once you get that tester out of the way, they'll start using you more consistently, and then probably keep you as a contractor for as long as they can, so they don't have to pay you medical or any kind of benefits. But at some point, if it's been going on for over a year, then you need to start the discussion with them about bringing you on full time. Yeah. Protect.
Okay.
Yeah. There are other routes. Don't trust the websites. Go find the people that actually work for the company and stalk. I'm not saying digitally stalk them, but be friendly and be a fan.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions, you guys?
Oh. Yep, I got one more.
Send it. What you got?
Okay, so Genshin Impact mobile game. As you can see, that none of my work relates to Genshin Impact or anime 2D cell shading render. Although I would like making or get into that company, but transitioning to it, even though I don't have any portfolio that relates to cell shading render, if I create like one or two, you think it's still a good possibility that I could pitch myself to get in, or have them have me in the back burner where they're like, okay, he could do the work, but we're not hiring. So the question is, transitioning to my cutesy figurine to anime cell shading render, or getting different kind of job or different style.
You're all over the place, man. You want to do the realistic characters, you want to do the figurines, you want to do cell shaded anime girls.
Yeah.
Like, nah, dude, pick a lane. So you've already got to, if you want to work another 3 years, the style that I'm seeing within that video game from a quick image search, there are thousands of kids on the internet who specialize in this type of character illustration. So you are up against, every kid in Japan that has Krita on their tablet. And this is I've been teaching at an art school within the United States, and they come in, I get one in every 100 that has specialized in this art style, and this is all they can do. If you ask them to go around and paint a background or a background environment, they can't do it. If you ask them to do a character that actually has an expression on their face, they can't do it. But they can render the hell out of a character standing there and looking cool, and they're the best you've ever seen at it. So I would not play this game, because there's too many people in the pool that you're competing against who have been working since they were 16 to be able to do this style and only this style. You are fortunate because you have the ability to be able to do a lot of different styles and a lot of different work. But I would say that looking at this is the top tier of kids that draw this stuff in the world. So is this, I'm trying to find in-game. These are all character animations. Impact in-game. This. So, okay. So they're character illustrators. They've got the guy for it. Yeah, if you want to do a 3D model of something like this, I don't think it's going to break the bank or take too much time for you. And it would be a good thing to be able to add to your portfolio. Likely, you could get hired. I think the quickest way to get hired with something like this would be to be a environment artist, and that's going to get you in the door quite a bit faster than being a character modeler for a studio like this. Yeah, and it's no time at all. If you throw a couple boulders and some mobile game looking trees in there, they will really have to consider you, because this is not something that a lot of people specialize in. Low poly bushes, rocks, any kind of water forms, any kind of, you know, big islands sticking up out of the ground. Great spot for you to be at.
Got it. They need more environmental 3D artists.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah, I've got one of those. Look, there's another logo. Okay. Yeah, so just if you want it, you can get it. It's just I would not try and jump in there with the illustration style that this type of stuff. I've seen many art school kids, and that's in Atlanta, Georgia. You start moving to Asia and that region of the world, and there's a lot of people out here who can do this with their eye. Also, for a game like this, another great spot to be in is items. So if you like the game, go through on a Saturday night and start creating some of the item stuff that they have here in 3D, and that will help get you in the door.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Got it? Assets.
All these little gems, all the coins, the crowns, stuff like that. This is a great tool that doing things in this style will help get you in the door. And especially on mobile games, they have got thousands and thousands of items that need created every season. They're always adding more, and this is a great spot to come in the door with them. Okay, fellas. I hope this was useful for you guys today. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day, your afternoon, your evening. And yeah, go forth and keep on making some great stuff. You guys are all incredibly talented. And it was great getting to see this work today.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right.